Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this episode of One-on-One. I'm Martin Falls. Very interesting guest lined up for today's program. Jerome Boykin, the president of the NAACP for some 28 years now here in the area. But it's more than the NAACP. Where was Jerome raised? Where did he go to school? What makes him tick? What makes him laugh? On this show, we're going to go beyond the NAACP and find out more about Jerome Boykin. Don't go away. One-on-One is brought to you by the Law Office of Waits and Downer. I want to make sure the audience knows, Jerome hadn't always gone with controversial stories, because there's Master P, there's Donald Rouse, incredible stories, bringing people into town that brought a wealth with them and just could take care of people. That was a different twist for you, because in your earlier part as president, there were more controversial stories, but then there was a shift and you started really bringing in people that could help children and families.
Yeah.
Was that a conscious shift that you felt, or was it just easier to do as you got older?
It was easy to do as I got older.
Yeah.
Master P and I haven't always been friends. I was more closer to Silk, his brother. I met Master P when I asked his brother Silk to get him here to be a guest speaker for the NAACP banquet.
Yeah.
And when he came down, and I mean, him and I kicked it off real good. Usually I have to go through his brother to get to him. And when Master P and I became friends, you know, it's not like that anymore. I could just contact him and he called me. But Marty, it was kind of different for me, because I'd never had a friend to where you got to get past 10 or 15 bodyguards to get to him.
True, yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And being with him in places in New Orleans and being around him and talks to him about 2 or 3 times a week. Mm-hmm. Him and I talks all the time, and you're able to hear some of the stories with the other celebrities, and it's a different world, man. I tell you, hearing some of the other stories. But Master P called me one day. He was coming to New Orleans. He said, "Hey," he said, "I want you to meet me in New Orleans." He said, "We're gonna go to lunch." He said, "I'm gonna bring Zion, who is the Pelicans center."
Yeah.
I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "We're gonna get together. We're gonna spend a day together." And I tell you, it was a hell of an experience being with Master P and Zion, you know, for most of the day. And the way these guys laugh and talk and kid, it's like they don't have a worry in the world.
There's no doubt. And really, financially, they don't.
Zion just signed for over $100 million.
Yeah, they're still driven. But you're right, because the interviews I've done over the years with the big bands and the big, when you break it down, they're just like us. They're just in the spotlight, but when they're out the spotlight, they cutting up and laughing and picking on each other.
And that's what they were doing.
They pick on each other more than any. It's almost like, you know, let me knock you down so I could be up, and then the other one knocks them down so they could be up, but it's in a fun way.
They was laughing and talking and cracking jokes, man, and stuff. And one thing, I tell you what, being with them, they don't want you to pay for anything. You better not come out of your pocket with no money.
You okay with that? Get the biggest steak you can get, enjoy it. I mean, come on. Like I said, I followed your whole career because I'm in the news business. You've had some tough battles. But in the last few years, me and you have laughed more than we ever laughed, because I've seen you mellow. You mellowed quite a bit. Was it, you alluded to the grandkids, you alluded, when did Jerome Boykin start mellowing? When did you feel it?
I would say probably around 50 years old.
Yeah.
About 50 years old. I can honestly say about around that time.
As a president of the NAACP, if you've got to, for lack of a better word, showcase a company or reprimand somebody for doing something, you almost have to look at the totality. Just like if anybody wants to judge Jerome Boykin as a president of the NAACP. That's why I wanted to do this show. Don't they have to know Jerome Boykin from ringing the doorbell and running to going with Master P and doing that? Don't they have to know the whole person?
I think once a person get to know who I am, then they would know. A lot of times it's easier to voice opinion on a person when you don't know them. You just only go about news clips and stuff you read in the paper.
Right.
They truly don't know, who you are and stuff like that. But all of that, Martin, comes with the territory. When I tell you I have thick skin, over the years, you learn to have thick skin.
Right. But 28 years as president of the NAACP, and there have been others before you.
Right.
What else has that accomplished? Or are you looking at somebody in the younger generation and sort of saying, it's time for y'all to step up?
My time is gonna come till the end. But right now, I feel long as I continue to do the work of the organization and help the community like I'm helping the community and still being effective as a leader of the NAACP, I plan to be here.
So you still have the energy?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. I love doing what I do. It's part of my DNA. It's in my soul. That's the reason why I do what I do.
How do you keep that
I don't
energy?
get a check now. We have no paid staff. This is strictly volunteer. Yeah. And I also want to say, Martin, I serve on many other organization boards and stuff. I serve on the Salvation Army board as the treasurer. I know you probably didn't know that.
I did not.
I'm also the vice chairman of the Terrebonne Council on Aging. I'm sure you.
Well, I did know you were involved in the Council on Aging.
All right, and I'm a chairman for that. Yeah. And also, one of the appointments that I got was from the former President of the United States, Barack Obama, and that's the selected committee that he appointed me to for 20 years.
All right. So there's some other things about Jerome people don't know.
Right.
All right.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
People ask me this all the time, and sometimes I can answer them, sometimes I can't. But how do you keep your enthusiasm about what you do? We're no spring chickens anymore. We're around the same age, graduated the same year. But you got to keep that energy. How do you do it?
It's easy for me to do. It's because clearly it's what I want to do, and it's in my DNA, and it's in my soul. Something that you feel so strongly about it, to me, is easy to do. Just like with HTV and what you do, it's easy for you to do it because it's a part of Martin Falls in what he do.
Yeah. When it comes part of your soul, it's hard to get rid of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Because you're really throwing your soul away. And we don't want to do that. But your expansion, what haven't you accomplished as president of the NAACP? You're bringing Master P in town. I'm seeing you in the Rouses distributing stuff all over the place. And I'm going, Jerome's not going to stop there. Because I know you too well now. You're not going to rest on that. Although, when you get the Master P, that's pretty good stuff, okay?
Yeah.
So what's next? Who are you going to bring in next?
I'm just
Is
gonna
Adele
keep
going to
going.
play at the next NAACP?
Stay tuned.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but obviously you're always thinking out the box.
You're right, always. Yeah. One of the things, though, Martin, that I love doing is raising money for scholarships. You know, for over 20 years, we've been raising money for kids from all of the local high school to go to college. What better reason to raise money is to raise money for kids' education.
And I got to give you some kudos because I want to tell the audience. You would assume that the NAACP just takes care of African-American students. I've seen the scholarships y'all give out. Y'all consider all races and all races get it.
Most diverse NAACP scholarships in the state.
And I know Sherry works hard on all that too.
Yes,
huh?
Sherry, who's our secretary. Yeah. And also, I got to say, Miss Diane Collins, man, with the youth chapter, she have done a wonderful job. A lot of times people see most of the work because I'm the president of the adult chapter. But I must say, just like the adult chapter is considered the top NAACP chapter in the state of Louisiana. Our youth chapter is also the top youth chapter in the state of Louisiana for the NAACP. So you have both chapters here in Terrebonne Parish that is considered the top NAACP chapters in the state
And
of
you're right, I
Louisiana.
watch Diane at some of the functions and the way she addresses the children, and they're locked on her. Respect.
She does it from her heart and soul. She does it because she want to do it. You know, all of her kids are out of school and all. But what she's doing, after school tutoring to help kids, you know, tutor and stuff like that, it's a part of her. And I'm lucky to have her, you know, as my youth director because of the commitment she have for the kids, man.
Right, no doubt.
And I also want to say, man, if the Terrebonne branch, also our membership, people look at the NAACP and say African American organization. It was an organization started in 1909 by whites who was concerned about the way blacks were being mistreated. And if people would know, even the Terrebonne chapter, I wish I could show you my roster, but I can't. 45% of the NAACP in Terrebonne Parish roster is Caucasian.
I didn't know that.
45%, the most diverse in the state and probably the country.
Wouldn't your dad be proud of that?
Yes, that's
Isn't
good
that what
for
he
all
wanted?
of us.
Isn't that what he wanted?
Right, but
Yeah.
that's for all of us.
Yeah.
That's good for all of us.
But way before you took the job, isn't that why he sent you to an all-white school? To diversify?
To get education,
Yeah.
to change the system, and to get and you're exactly right.
Yeah. Part of education is diversification.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah, there's no doubt. If you can't diversify, what's the point?
Right.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
All the dealings I've had with you, and if I had to come up with one word, I know what one word I'd come up with. But I want to ask you the one word. I want to, if I were able to get your mom down and your dad down and your family all in the room, if I could get Greg Harding involved in it, and I could get all the friends, Charlton Roseanne, if I could get him in the room. And I said, all right, y'all, I want y'all to narrow Jerome Boykin's life down to one word. And I know the first thing Greg Harding would do, go, whoa, one word. Yeah, one word. Get it down to one word. And I was able to bring Master P, who you now know, and the Rouses and everybody. Give me one word to describe Jerome Boykin. What's the one word that you would hope they came back with?
Fearless would be the word. You can't do what I do and not.
Fearless is, you're right. That's a tough position to
You
be
want me
in.
to give you fearless? When you challenge the power to be, when you speak in truth to power, when you challenge the judicial system, when you challenge all of the other systems in town, you have to be.
You said it a few times, you had to be thick-skinned during the interview. Thick-skinned and fearless parallel each other.
Right. The thick skin is you can't worry about what people say about you. Being president of the NAACP to me is not a popularity contest. It's more of a situation to where doing the right thing, a lot of times you're going to upset people.
But I guess the goal is, like I said, for transparency, me and you have gone head to head on issues over the years, but we're sitting here and we're talking cordially, and we have always talked cordially.
Right.
And you can disagree or agree to disagree. And it shouldn't be where there's hatred if somebody has a different end game.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. And I always knew the other side of Jerome because I see you at the golf tournaments or the function. And there was always a fun side of Jerome. But I felt it very unfair that not everybody got to see that. Because normally when they see you, you're at a press conference.
Right.
Or you're, now they have seen
wasn't
it lately with Master P, and when you're doing these things, it started sneaking out. Or the Rouses. You can't always be the tough guy. You got to laugh every now and then.
You're right. You have to be able to juggle both sides of it. You can't be serious all the time. You have to be able to have a sense of humor. One of the other friends that's real close to you that it didn't start out too good, and that's Dickie Barker.
Yeah, yeah. I love Mr. Dickey.
And you know yourself, when I first became president of the NAACP, I made a lot of people mad at some of the things I did do.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're one of them.
Yeah.
And with Dickie Barker, I named his business. And but if you talk to Dickie Barker today, I mean, we have a good relationship. I talk to him from time to time, not as much as I used to talk to him. And he support the scholarship giveaway for the kids and all. And it just goes to show you, sometimes you start out with guys
But I would
in an
say,
argument and they end up being friends.
Yeah, I would say that nobody's as good or bad as somebody else thinks they are.
Cool.
There's always a middle ground.
Right.
There's always somebody. So if you hear that somebody's terrible because they did this, really, when you really get to know them, they didn't really do this. They did this or somewhere in the middle. Just like when I would hear things about you, because you would go on and do these tough things as the NAACP president, and people would see me, like after council meetings, they'd see me and you shake hands and laugh, and people go,
what's that about?
What's that about? I'm going, I like Jerome. He's up there fighting for a cause, but that don't mean we can't be friends.
Right.
So I think everybody needs to take a deep breath, right?
And that's so true.
Yeah. And get to the point.
That's it.
What's your goal when it's all said and done with the NAACP? What would you hope that people would say about the organization under your leadership?
My goal is whenever I leave and my time is up and it's over, then I left the NAACP in better shape than I found it. Okay. In the same way for the community, doing the work that we have been doing in the community, that it did get better. Right. Still got a long way to go, but it's better than what it used to be.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us, and thank you for all your efforts in the community. And I don't know where you're getting the energy, but keep rolling, keep doing what you're doing, and I appreciate you joining us on One-on-One today. Now everybody knows a little bit more about Jerome Boykin.
I appreciate you inviting me, man. And I'm glad to be here, and looking forward to continue to working with you on anything that we can do to help our community.
All right. Thank you, Jerome.
All right.
Appreciate
it.
All right.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm. This one-on-one program has been brought to you by the law offices of Waits and Downer.